if he was touching them, done.
Oh.
I'm fucking done. We're not getting married. You know what I mean?
Hello guys and welcome back to episode 6 of the Suddenly 20s podcast. This category is It's a Mood. It's our fun one where we just chill out, hang out. It is our second It's a Mood category. And today we've got drinks. Cheers, Shana, and cheers to you listeners. Grab a drink and listen. Unless you're driving, don't do that.
Yes. Cheers to our sixth episode.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, wow.
It's actually crazy. Whenever I type in to the session where we're recording this on, I'm like episode 6, or when we're planning it, I'm like, I couldn't even figure out what number it was. And I was like, 6. We've been doing this for so long now. Yeah.
That's 6 weeks.
This will be is this a month since when's our 1 month anniversary from launching? I don't even know.
Oh yeah.
Do you reckon that?
I didn't think of that. We're going to have to keep track of our year anniversary.
Yeah, we're going to have to do some fun things. And by the way, guys, sorry, we're having some connection issues, and I would like to come in and just address that last episode. I was trying to be adaptable and flexible. I was at my parents' coast house, and I was like, I can stay an extra night. I'll just record the podcast there. Bad decision. The audio was horrible. It wasn't as bad as it sounded. So what you guys heard was not as bad as it sounded when I originally was editing it. But, we are sorry. I am sorry.
No, that shouldn't happen again either. It's just the connectivity. Oh, it was just the headphones. It was an issue with the headphones. But anyways.
Yeah.
We are all sorted.
Sorry about that. We're learning.
Yeah, we're learning. That was pretty good that it happened on episode 5. Not episode 1. Proud of that.
All right, guys. So we did mention this as a secret at the end of one of our other episodes, but we are doing a giveaway and it's going to be big and exciting. We're not going to tell you anything about it really, except that you're going to want to win it. And how you win it is to get involved on our social media. So anyone that posts in those question boxes that Shana was just talking about and gives us questions to answer and shares topic suggestions, any of that kind of stuff, including resharing our episodes or anything, you guys will go in the run to win it. We've got a tally in our joint spreadsheet of all of your names.
Yeah, we've already got you guys in there. Definitely enter that. It's exciting. Should we just just into a first question?
Yep.
So I feel like this episode is going to be just super chill, just answering your guys' questions. It's pretty much a Q&A. We've got a lot of random questions. I feel like it's not going to be your usual Q&A because we're just going to be answering things that you guys have asked, and they're not your traditional, traditional questions. But I feel like I like that about Q&As when they answer the most random stuff.
Or when you answer someone's question. I love when someone answers my question. I'm like, hello.
Yeah, and I'm going to go first. I'm going to ask you a question. What is your ideal date night?
Ooh.
And we haven't really even looked at these either, so we're answering on the spot.
Yeah, that's what I like about it too.
Ideal date night. How far are we going? How extreme are we going?
I know. To be honest, Paris. Probably not that. That's not the answer you guys are looking for. Look, I love the idea, and I'm yet to do this, where I go out to a nice fancy dinner and then go to cocktail bars afterwards and get a little bit tipsy and then have some fun. That's the vibe.
Just with you and your partner. Love that.
See,
nothing too fancy.
Yeah, just, I just like the thought of doing what you do with your friends, but being able to be besties enough that you can go out for a drink or two and just have fun with each other.
Similar. I just it doesn't have to be extreme. I feel like I used to be oh my God, it has to be extreme. But now I'm it just has to be my ideal date would be romantic and just effort. That they've thought about it.
Yes.
And put in effort to make you have a good time and like surprise you. So it would kind of be like, I'd say a surprise because I love surprises, and it'd probably just be something cute, like a picnic on the beach, like drinks, cute nibble food, pizza, just sunset.
Yeah.
Like that's so basic, but it's just so cute and romantic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ideal date, like it sounds so basic for your ideal date, but it's just like the thought that counts, I feel.
That's what I think, yeah. It's like if Sam planned anything, I would love it, you know.
Yes, I say that all the time. I'm like, whatever you do, I'll love because you've thought of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you've bought me it, so I'll love it no matter like what it is.
Ooh, I've just got a random question. Not sure if it comes up, but what's your love language, Shana?
Oh, that's so hard. I reckon I'm a combination of all of them.
Oh, really?
Like, it's definitely, I actually haven't looked at mine for probably like a year, but it's definitely, what is it when they do things for you?
Oh, acts of service.
Acts of service is definitely up there. I think that's probably the main one, yeah. And probably quality time. But then I feel like I am what I'm lacking at the time. I feel like I fall into like a little bit of all of them.
Yeah.
Which is selfish.
See, no. It's natural. I reckon I'm like, I think I've always been quality time. Like,
yeah.
I've never been one to like need.
You're not physical touch, that's for sure.
I'm not physical touch.
Get them.
Like I do the test and it's like 0 in physical touch. Like not even 1%, not even like 0.5. It's literally 0. So I'm not physical touch. And then I think like the others sort of, even words of affirmation. I've definitely, like my past relationship versus this current relationship, like Sam is his love language would be physical touch and then words of affirmation. And I've never been one to feel like I need compliments and like, I can understand why people would, but I really think that mine has just always been quality time because at the end of the day, I don't need any of the other stuff so long as I get to spend good time with my partner. And that involves like feeling heard and listened to and like I'm wanted. But if,
I feel like I always say actions speak louder than words. So I feel like it's definitely acts of service and quality time. Because then I think of not having quality time and I'm like, where is that? So they're definitely the top two.
We'll go into this love language as like an episode on its own.
Yeah, it should be an episode.
Yeah, if you guys want to enter the giveaway, go ahead and tell us to do love languages next episode, guys. Next week is relationships. So
yes, I'm keen for that. How do you stay motivated?
Oh, far out. I feel like I almost need to look at these so I can like prepare an answer. I need to like think about it a little bit. Do you want to go first?
Oh, I was like, I'm going to think of mine when the step up. No. How do I stay motivated? It's actually, I feel like I go up and down with my motivation. I'll be on like such high, so motivated, no negative thoughts about anything. And I'll be good for a while and then I'll drop for no reason. So...
Oh my God.
Is that you?
Shana, that is so comforting. Like, I do that so intensely that sometimes, this is such a big secret, but sometimes I'm scared I have, like, bipolar or something. Just because I'm like, why? How can I physically go from one to the other when it's the same? Nothing even happens. I mean, maybe something small happens, but all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not good enough. Stop posting YouTube videos. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. And I'm all of a sudden not motivated.
Yeah. And it can be the most littlest things that make us unmotivated just by seeing one comment or someone else and comparing ourselves. But
doing that.
Yeah. I don't know. To stay motivated, I just try and keep myself positive, which for me is waking up early, going to the gym. Like it keeps me motivated, but not just like with specific like business things, but general life. So getting up early, listening to like a funny podcast or music, or going to the gym, coming home, and then you're motivated to keep going because you've got those like endorphins. That's what motivates me. If I go to the gym and then come home, I'm ready to go. Like usually I'm not negative after that. So I feel like that's what keeps me motivated if we're talking business related. That's what I'm talking about. Business related. That's how I keep motivated. Just trying to keep myself positive. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. I think I feel like this is a little side segue into like a current life update, but if you watch my YouTube channel, you might have noticed that there's been a little bit less videos than usual. And like I reckon this perfectly sums up what I'm going through at the moment. Like I haven't lost motivation, but I really hit like a roadblock with my mental health in the last few weeks. Like I just felt like everything was a lot harder to do and stuff like that. And I just feel like as a consequence of that, I wasn't losing motivation, but it seemed harder to do. And I felt less like competent to do everything that I was doing like a few weeks before that. And like I am actually going to start like a mini series on my channel starting like this Sunday, where I go into like more of a life update, sort of just a bunch of like maybe 3-week vlogs into how I get my life back on track, because it's been really needed. Like,
but that'll help so many other people as well.
Yeah.
Seeing how some, like, because like you just related to me, so many people will do that to yours as well.
Yeah, and no one really talks about it. Like, I know there's this thing on YouTube and it's like getting my life back on track, and I'm like, yeah, but show me what your life is like when it's not on track.
Like, be real.
Tell me about it. Yeah, like, because that's great and it's motivating, but what's actually demotivating is watching things where it's like getting my life back on track and you're like, shit, they can do it, but like, how'd they actually get from
A to B?
Not even wanting to, and then, you know, they're filming B to C, but you're like, how'd you get from A to B? And like, it's hard on YouTube because like you've got to get from A to B to even pick up the camera. But like, so I just think that's such a relevant question. I think it's a good question, and my advice would be similar to yours. Like, you've got to do your daily, mine's self-care. Like, that's it. If you're not motivated, it's because you're not caring for yourself.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I said. Like, the gym, cooking, like, a nice breakfast or something. Or,
And, like, bring yourself back into, like, a positive mindset. Like, I've found that this week I've done a little bit of the A to B, just trying to figure out how I'm even going to film this little series requires some work. But as a result of that, I'm like, okay, let's respond to, like, your brand emails. Let's like touch up your media kit and update the analytics. Let's like go to the gym and just try and do small things. Like, and
I think also organization and staying on like a routine schedule keeps me on track, but also making time to not do anything and try and not think about whatever it is you're trying to stay motivated about, whether it's business. Give yourself time because running your own businesses, I found that so hard to switch off because there's no 9 to 5. So it'll be like 11 p.m. and I'll be like, I have an idea and I can't sleep unless I write that down. So trying to, it's so bad. And planning and like having a routine of when you work, but also scheduling like to not do anything, go to the beach and just have fun and not having to think of that.
And like one of the biggest things is I found, and this is actually in my work life, so if your question was directed at like how to stay motivated even within your professional career, I was even slowing down a little bit there. Like it was quite literally every aspect of my life. I was hitting burnout, I think, but like, which is not surprising, right? Like I was just doing way too much. And so I just was like, okay, we're going to take it slow and I'm going to focus on my job at the moment and like just get that back on track. And I found that writing down every tiny little thing on a to-do list, like all the emails, because at the end of the day, I could stand back and be like, I'm actually doing a lot and look at everything I've ticked off, and you feel accomplished and you feel a positive emotion for ticking off something like reply to email from X, like update this document with current, position numbers or something is what mine would say. And
Yeah.
it's like really rewarding, and it helps you stay motivated and stay out of that negative headspace.
Yeah, it's trying to keep into that positive headspace. That's what keeps you motivated. It's when
That's
it's
what
that
motivation
negative,
is.
that negativeness, is that a word? Negativeness creeps in.
Yeah. All right, next.
Top 5 places you'd live in the world.
Ooh.
I feel like I should go first because it's going to be harder for you to answer.
Yeah.
Because Steph's going to live everywhere. It's hard because, like, you're kind of opposite to me because you would live everywhere. I wouldn't live everywhere, I don't think. I would travel everywhere, but I couldn't live, so top 5.
I mean, I'd live everywhere, but they wouldn't be on my top 5. Like, if you were like, Steph, let's go to Argentina, I'd be like, I'm down. But, like, if you asked me, I wouldn't be like, I want to go to Argentina. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
So, mine would be number 1, America. Stay tuned. Live. Oh, like, anywhere in Europe. I think my next 4 would be somewhere in Europe.
Come on, specific. I need it just to. I need to plan it just in case we go. Shana just hit her head on the wall. We've done that. We're 1-on-1. We'll keep a tally.
Yeah. Keep a tally. Paris.
Yes.
Italy. Greece. I don't know if you could really live in Greece, but I'd holiday there for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd probably live in New Zealand too. Kind of.
Well, mine to live would be... I'm going to go, like, specific rather than countries, just because, like, there are places I would
Because you've already
live.
planned it out.
Yeah. I'm just going into my bank. I have about 10 houses ready to go if I decide to. So New York would be up there in my top 5, which, by the way, Shana, I feel like sharing this. I had this random, like, I actually can't believe, like, this memory came to me, and it was so faint, and I was like, I almost don't know if this is real. So I texted my mom and I was like, hey, like, was there any chance I was, like, obsessed with New York when I was, like, 17? And I was like, I kind of feel like maybe I was. And then the thing that turned me off was someone being like, America has shit coffee. No offense if there's Americans. But I feel like you guys have got better.
That's a known fact.
Well, I mean, they're doing better, okay? I've walked on the Google streets and found some nice cafes. Like, they're doing a lot better.
We haven't tasted it yet.
Not yet, but I did ask her, and my mom was like, you were absolutely obsessed. Like, I was, like, rewatching Gossip Girl, rewatching Sex and the City. Like, I was just like, that's where I'm going, and I'm going to live there. Like, I was like, I have to live there for a year. And I just can't believe I didn't even remember that. Like, it was just... I was like, how did that memory only just randomly pop up to me? But I do remember it so clearly now that she said that. And then literally when someone was like, you will not be able to drink coffee for a year, I was like, nah.
In the bin.
Yeah. But they're doing better, so they're back up on my top 5.
Okay, good. I'm
next
glad.
would be London, Paris, literally anywhere in Italy. Like, specifically Rome was one of my favorite places in all of Europe when I went. And I've actually been told, Shana, and to anyone who hasn't been to Europe or has, assessed this quote, if your favorite place in Europe ends up being your first place in Europe, because when you're from Australia, because you've never seen anything like it before, it's just so different. Like, so Rome was the first place I ever went, and still to this day is my favorite. So I think that's 4, and then Bali.
Yeah. That just seems like the most easiest lifestyle there.
Oh, it'd be so fun.
And it would be so different. I mean, everywhere would be so different to here, but... Oh, yeah. Oh my
but it'd
God,
also be almost the most similar because there's so many Aussies in Bali that, like, you'd feel like you're living in Australia on the Gold Coast.
Do you have any tattoos?
No.
No, we're boring.
Do you?
Sorry.
Yeah. Would you get one, though?
Oh, see, I have this argument all the time with my sisters. I feel like I would, because I'd be like, I have to live my life and get a tattoo one day. So I feel like I eventually would. Nothing big, I'm not into that. But something, I love all the little cute little ones.
Yeah.
But I just can't seem to get it on myself because I feel like I will want it off and I can't get it off. So I can't commit to anything because I feel like I will love it now, but in like 5 years I'll go, I won't like it. So that's my issue. And my sisters want to get like a sister tattoo, and I'm like all for that. I think that's so cute. We haven't been set on one or anything, but I just have the same issue with that, even though it's like meaningful or not doesn't bother me. But I'm just worried that I'm going to just like want it off and I won't be able to choose a spot. I can't choose a spot.
But like, what if Kira like ends up with Shay one day? Like, love you, Kira. But you never know. You know what I mean? Like,
and we've got a matching tattoo.
Yeah, I'd just be like, I'd actually chop my arm off. Like, not. I feel like now Kira's gonna be like, what the fuck, Steph? But like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, you never know. And if you want it off, you can't get it off. That's so fucked.
And I just feel like I'll get it on like my wrist or something, and then I'll just see it every single day and be like, I'm kind of over it now.
Yeah.
So I think eventually I will, because I'll want to like kind of experience that. But then I also like the clear skin, so.
Yeah. I reckon I have always said to myself, I'm not very big on tattoos. Like, I reckon they're so cute, but just I feel like I'm not really the kind of person to get one.
Neither am I.
And like, I feel like we're both not. But I've always said that the only thing that's permanent is, this is so negative, but is your love for someone when they die. Like, that's not going to change. They're not going to come back and hurt you. So you can get that. So I've always said, like, if someone really close to me died, I would want them with me permanently. And I feel like that's a very symbolic way to, like, keep them with you.
Yeah, a tattoo. Yeah, no, I agree. That's really deep.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Making the question so deep. It's like, how do you stay motivated? And I'm like, well.
How do you deal with fear of judgment?
Brutal.
That's just something I feel like we both experience. So good question, whoever asked that, because we definitely experienced that. I think I mentioned it in our social anxiety video that my main thing is like what people think of me. And it's in the most random situations. Like sometimes, because I feel like people are asking for more about the bigger things like your businesses or your podcast or your Instagram or your YouTube, which is obvious. But I also experience it in like a way of just meeting someone new and thinking, why did I say that? Or they're thinking about what I just said. And I don't know if that comes into, fear of judgment. So I fear that they've judged.
Social anxiety.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, it probably just made no sense, but.
No, it did.
That, about my Instagram and like the podcast and things. To be honest, I feel like you'd experience it more, but I grew up on the coast where Instagram was more of a thing to put yourself out there, I feel. Like I was around more people that was promoting themselves on Instagram or those type of things. So I never kind of really thought about that on my Instagram until I moved to Canberra and realised it was a completely different place and they didn't have people posting a lot of themselves on their Instagram, if that makes sense. Or different types of photos to what I was posting. So at first, I was hearing, like, before I moved down, to be completely honest, before I moved down, I didn't know anyone, but Shay obviously lived in Canberra, and people were saying, like, oh my God, she posts so many bikini photos, and etc. And, like, that was
it's the truth, right?
Yeah, so
that's
normal.
That's what they say. Yeah.
It was so normal for me because I was a surfer. I grew up on the beach. Yeah. Everyone in Coffs Harbour posts bikini photos. Like, they weren't sexually out there or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just, like, you're at the beach kind of thing. And it was so weird for people in Canberra to see that. So I heard a lot of that before I moved down and I thought, oh, my God, people literally think I'm like a hoe for posting a bikini photo, but it's a lifestyle, like, kind of thing. So that was a shock, and then that's when I thought, oh my God, are they, like, judging me for this? But they all knew, I guess, that it was, like, Shay would always say, it's the lifestyle there, like, that's so normal. You guys are just not used to it here because you're inland. You're not in bikinis as much, whereas living on the coast, that's all you're in, really. You wouldn't bat an eyelid looking at bikini photos on the coast.
I was about to say the same thing. I think it's literally that, like, no one has the opportunity, and you only do that if you're on holidays, so you get, like, 3 pics or something.
Exactly, but growing up, like, on the coast, it's your life.
I'm not justifying what they were saying, by the way. If you guys are judging someone for posting a bikini pic, like, leave. Bye. Sorry. Oh, that was so rude.
But yeah, so I had, now that I think about it, that was a bit of judgment from my Instagram. I mean, now everyone's used to it, and I'm back on the coast, and it's completely normal now, to do with the podcast and the Instagram business that I have. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I wonder what other people think, but then again, I'm like, this is what I want to do, so, and you're not doing it, so I'm not going to not do it just because you're not doing it. So, I just think, I just don't really care anymore, to be honest. I'm like, whatever, if you don't want to support or you want to judge, then whatever. I don't really fear of that anymore on Instagram.
I think, like, I've learnt slowly that people who are judging are just not worth my time. Like, and, like, I think that's taken me so long. Like, when I first started reposting on YouTube, that was January 2020. And I feel like at the time, it was my New Year's resolution video, and my goal for the year was to, like, not be afraid of people judging me, like, to lose the fear of judgment. And I on and off went through, like,
it's
that
hard.
Definitely still impacted me. Yeah, but I think it comes down to what we were saying before about, like, your mindset. So if you're motivated and in a positive mindset where you're like, I'm good at what I do, and, like, at the end of the day, I know that someone judging me doesn't define me, and it's not true about me, it's because they're jealous, and not in, like, I feel like jealous is such a not right word to use, but it is because they're too scared to do it, and they have no right to say what they're saying. And at the end of the day, if someone's saying that shit, like, it's just, they're a waste of time. Like, don't let someone else stop you. Like, I always think if I got to, like, 30 and I was just working in a corporate job, not doing YouTube, and I'd never done it because X person was maybe going to judge me and I didn't even hear them say it. Yeah. How sad. Like, I would regret it. So I think it's, push through.
Yeah, I mean, because, like, what we do is different, so there's always going to be those people that are like, oh my gosh, but it's more of a norm now as well, and obviously we do, I personally go up and down with what I post. I definitely am hesitant of some things, even though I just said, like, I don't really get it on Instagram anymore. I definitely do go, like, up and down. Like, if I'm sharing something, I'll go, oh, what if I lose followers from that? But then I think, am I really going to not do what I want to do because I'm worried someone's going to judge me for that? So I feel like I've just gotten to a point where I'm like, I want to do that, and I don't want to look back and think I didn't do that just because I feared people judging me.
Yeah.
So.
And I just think, like, I just am someone who so wholly feels like I do not want to be controlled by my environment. Like, I want to control my environment, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, I don't want it to control me. So letting other people's judgment control me. And it's like the same thing as, you know, I slightly am like, why do we have to work 9 to 5? Why do we have to always get up early in the morning to be a good, healthy person? Why do we have to do all this stuff that society says is what's normal? Yeah. Like, and don't get me wrong, I like getting up early because I do feel more productive, but, like, that doesn't mean that it's right. And I just think, like, everyone has their own opinions, and it's just, like, as a group, people judge, and it's just, like, you're your own person, and just do you.
That is literally, I tell myself all the time, you are literally not going to please everyone. When I first moved to Canberra, I was so like, oh my God, worried about what I post on Instagram, etc. And Shay used to always say, stop worrying what people think about you, because I did care way too much of what people thought about me. Yeah. And I just, get really, like, stressed or anxious about it and be like, oh, what if they think this or whatever? And he'd say, who cares? And I'm like, how does someone have that mindset? Oh, my God. Oh. Shay's a completely different human being. But anyway, he's taught me to think, you are literally not going to please everyone. So why be fearful of what they think? Yeah. Like, you're not going to please everyone. So that one person you don't please, at least you're doing what you love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And most of the time they're judging you because they're jealous.
And also, like, I've learned that, fucking cheers to that. I've also learned, though, that half the time it's in your head. Like, they haven't said anything. They haven't really done anything. And yes, there's a lot of people out there, guys, who are judging you. And I think it's fairly valid. They are definitely judging me. Otherwise, you would probably have more positive reactions. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like, that's in my head and there's actually no evidence for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if I was getting hate comments, I'd also be like, well, you're really sad. So I really don't care.
I also just think it's sad that people judge people on what makes other people happy.
It just says a lot about a person. Like, they're not
says
happy.
More about them than
and I'm
you.
Like, well, yeah, like, judgment, I don't know. And I think there's a difference as well, like you were saying before, about, like, the area of judgment. One area, I really don't care about my YouTube anymore. It's actually such a great feeling. I feel so liberated. It's taken me a year and a half, almost 2 years to get to this point. Like, I post it, I don't care. I don't even think to myself, like, oh, do people get annoyed by my Instagram story? Because I'm like, at the end of the day, they can walk out of my life. Like, I don't care, like, at all. I post it, I do what I want to do, and it makes me feel fulfilled. The area that judgment still gets me is, like, the thought that, like, the other day I was like, what if, for no reason, really, you know how sometimes you just don't like someone? I was like, what if Sam's parents don't like me? Like, what if they judge me for who I am? And I'm like, there is the fear of judgment. Is like, there are certain people who still hold that power. Yeah. And I think that's fairly valid. I think anyone would feel like that if...
Yeah, there's always going to be like a little bit of it.
Yeah, like,
it always creeps
I just think that... Yeah. And, like, if they're people that you can choose and they're judging you, they're not the right people for you. So at the end of the day, don't fear someone who doesn't have a closeness and power in your life. And if they do have that and they're judging you, then they're not right to have that power in your life. So they should be distanced.
Yes. Perfect.
Music plays.
Worst experience in a job? Just the people I've worked for, really.
Dates, drama, tea.
No, it's not that much tea. No, just my first job. My manager was a fucking bitch and, like, had it out for me for everything I did, even though I did everything she asked. And when she'd ask something, I'd do it, and then she'd get me in trouble for it. So I just could never win. But anyway, that all flipped, and it ended up being fine after, like, a couple months. But it was just so shit, and I was so young. It was my first job, and I was in hospitality. So that was just shit time. And then in Canberra, I just worked for a shit dentist. No, it was just, obviously I'm a dental nurse, and just one of the dentists I worked for was an absolute beep, and just treated you like shit, and just made you look incompetent, and it was just so bad. So, that was just so shit. So, it's pretty much who I've worked for, or people in the job I've worked for. Not everyone, just certain people.
Yeah, that's the same. I've enjoyed every single job I have done. Like, actually, I hated working at Donut King.
Did you work at Donut King?
Yeah. They made me wear an L badge. Because I was a fucking learner.
Oh
like, the L plates that you put on your car, they made me wear a badge. I did that. I literally did that when I came back from Christmas Island, because I was like, I want to go back. And Mum was like, get a job and earn the money. So I did, and I made up $2,000 because that's how much it cost to get there. And then when I came back from my holiday, I never told them that I was back. And then they saw me at the pool one day and she texted me and she's like, I guess you're back. Can you bring your uniform in? I was like,
oh my God.
I got someone to take it in for me.
That's so funny. I did, in that first job I had, it was a Mexican fast food. I had to sample out the front of the store the guacamole and like corn chips, and I had to stand out the front. And it wasn't even like there was a gate from where I was standing to go back inside. It was like you had to walk all the way around. So I'd be standing outside holding this plate. I'd be like, and I'd have to say, would you like to try a free sample? To everyone that would walk past, like my boss or my manager would be sitting behind me. So I'd have to do it. And I wanted to legit commit. Like, it was fucked. Like, what the hell is that? Sampling, do you want some guacamole? And like, everyone loved it, but it was just so embarrassing. And it wasn't for like 10 minutes. They'd make you stand out there for almost an hour. And it was just so embarrassing. That was shit.
That's like our first job experiences. I'm going to put in the YouTube video a photo of each of us at those jobs. So go check it out.
I'm going to have to find it. Funny story though, when I was sampling, that was the first time that I met Shay. So Shay was actually like away when we started talking, and when he came home, he stopped in. He was like, I'm traveling home. And I was like, I'm working. And he's like, I'll stop in. I was fucking sampling. Like, what the fuck? And as he drove home, he stopped in at where I was working because he knew I was working. And instead of me just being behind the register, I was fucking sampling. Do you want to try some guacamole? Fuck me. So, that was just the end. I could not believe it. And there was no way to get out of the situation either because I was standing out the front of the store and I couldn't get back in unless I walked all the way around the bloody mall to get back in the back way. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was in a mall. But anyways, little story for you guys there. I forgot about that for a while. Can exes really be friends? I think yes, after a period of time of no talking. Only because I've seen, like, my sister's friends with her ex, but that was after a long period of time of not talking, and then just being on a friendship level because it moved on. Yeah, definitely. Like, once you're both moved on, and if it didn't end bad. So, because they ended, because they just drifted apart. They just had different things they wanted to do. And then, they spent a long period of time not talking, like, needing space to, like, move on. And then, because they're kind of, like, we all have mutual friends, they eventually, like, saw each other and they're happy to just say, hey, and that's it, kind of thing. But I think definitely no, if it was bad, a bad ending or something like a shit relationship, there's no way. Why the fuck would you want to be friends with that?
I literally am like, I don't know if you can. Like, it depends on how you defined friends as well. Like,
true.
You know, your example there, if they started hanging out one-on-one, I'd be like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, always going to be like this
weird... Yeah, no. One-on-one is a bit like, are you friends? Or... But I definitely think there needs to be a long period of time between a relationship and if you want to be friends, just to cut off... Keep hitting my mic. Just to cut off all, like, feelings that are tied to it, even when you do end.
I think that's what the key is, You can't be friends straight away. Like, I know that people often break up and they're like, we're still friends, but it's like, you don't necessarily have to block them, but exactly. You've just got to, like, have that time, because if they're still in your life, like, you're just never going to get over them. Yeah, and even if you have moved on, like, they might not have, and it's just a very slippery slope. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely situational, to be honest. It's definitely, it literally just depends on the relationship and what is happening now, kind of thing. Because then it gets
awkward when, like, you both move on and have new partners. Obviously, the new partners don't want to hang out with the exes. You know what I mean? So it just depends.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's so good not to have, like, your ex or your partner's ex in your life at all. Like, not even on social media. It is, like, the best feeling. The second that happened to me and Sam in our relationship, I was just like, yes. Like, it's just freedom. Like, the past is not there to haunt you when someone posts a story.
We're going to talk for so long about this one. Is strippers at your bucks cheating? Or would you have them at your bucks? Oh, at their bucks, whatever. I don't know.
Look,
do you know what?
Up,
I just try not to think about it until I'm in the situation.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I feel like I had, nah, I'm just like, nah.
Can't even put it on words. Yours is a serious no.
Yeah.
I just have no idea how to answer this question. But to be honest, I think, it's just hard because it's such like a tradition type thing. But I feel like our generation is like not for it.
Okay, here we go. I'll be ready. Welcome to my TED Talk. So let's just go into this, right? Tradition. What is the tradition though, right? It's not just like, it's usual to have a stripper at your bucks party. The whole point, it is so sexist, right? Like, and that's why I'm like, if there's a man dating a woman who equally wants a stripper and like genuinely wants a stripper for the purposes of them having a stripper there, rather than being like, I need to be equal to the fact that my partner has a stripper at his, right? Back in the day, it was because men could sleep around, they could do whatever the fuck they wanted until they essentially bought or had an arranged marriage. There was no relationship prior, right? And it was like the woman had to be perfect, had to be a virgin, couldn't have, like, didn't even know what sex is. The history is that men could do what they wanted. They had every right, because it really was their last night of freedom. It was the night before they got married to someone they'd never slept with, right? Because that was a little perfect princess virgin. Yeah. And it's just like, the concept is so distorted. And I know that you're like, oh, it's just not accepted in this generation. It's just like, well, like, we have come so far that I'm like, how is this still a fucking thing? Like, it is like, not even your last night of freedom. Your last night of freedom was before we made it exclusive. And
I actually don't even reckon it's much of a thing anymore. Like, so if I had to get married right now and I had to answer the question yes or no right now, I'd say no, because I just wouldn't want to think of that. I feel like I wouldn't have time on my night because I'd be thinking of that. And also,
do you mean no, it's not cheating, or no, he can't have
no, strippers? he can't have them.
Right.
No, he can't have them there. But because I don't care how, like, non-attractive this person is or whatever, if he was touching them, done. I'm fucking done. We're not getting married. You know what I mean? So, like, what's the point? Like, to just, like, watch it and, like, laugh? Because then what's the point? If she's just there to do a little act, no one's touching and everyone's laughing, like, what's the point? So, like no, if you're going to touch and...
It's just, like, my compromise is, like, maybe topless waitresses. But then I'm like, why? What is the point? Why? Just because it's a tradition. Like, we don't like this tradition. This is not a tradition that should still be a thing to this day. But I just remember, like, I had no idea what, like, I just remember being so innocent and young in my last relationship. And my partner went to a bucks party. And, like, I was thinking, like, you know, people are going to get lap dances of, like, clothed lingerie people. And holy shit, women, I'm so sorry, like, to anyone listening to this who doesn't know that this shit happens, but I was shocked to my core. This woman got naked, and when I say woman, I mean stripper, like, full nude, and she literally, like, 69'd him, like, didn't suck his... She literally had him fully naked, sitting on a chair, and got up and, like, turned around and was like dancing with her crotch in his face. I'm like, that is cheating. I'm so honest, sorry, but it is.
I trust Shay that I know that he'd look at that and go, yuck. So that gives me kind of peace of mind, and like that's why I think I don't worry about it as much, because I know he isn't looking at that in any way attractive, or she's hot, or I want to touch her tits, or look at her bad, like kind of thing. But also there would still be that little deep down thought in my brain that goes, what if? So I'm like, no, you're not fucking touching anything.
I hate to be the person that just brings this, like, be super negative, but at the end of the day, guys, we are animals. We have natural instincts. Like, sexual arousal is a bodily function. We can't control it. No matter what our morals say, it occurs, right? And so I just know that at the end of the day, sex is something that boys like. And anything sexual is still going to get them at least slightly aroused. And I'm like, it's just not like, if you're going to turn it into a fun game, that's fine. Just like if chicks had a stripper, like, God, if there was a stripper at my hen's night, I would probably feel very uncomfortable, Shana, we're not doing it. Like, I would feel so uncomfortable.
But
I can see it being funny.
That being my hens, to be honest.
Yeah. Like, maybe some funny, like, dick straws or something, but like, I don't know. I think it's really hard, guys. If you're listening to this, go on to our most recent like Instagram post and comment what your thoughts are, or we're going to put up a little poll and we're going to address it in the beginning of next episode, which is relationships, because I'd really like to know what people's thoughts are. Like, we'll put up a poll. Can we do that?
Yeah, we'll put it up.
I really want to know.
Yeah, because it's just such a unnecessary thing, I think, now. I just am like, why? And to be honest, to answer the question, if there's a stripper at your box and you're sitting there and the stripper gives you a lap dance and you touch them, I would say that's cheating. So that's my solid, straight to the point answer. Yeah. I wouldn't be happy about it.
And the reality is, you can try and blackmail me or pressure me and peer pressure me into saying it's not cheating, and I might, but deep down it hurts, and my gut tells me that it's not right. And I think that's what cheating is.
The way you feel.
Yeah. Like, cheating is such actually, like, it's so subjective. Like, it depends on who it is that you're talking about. Like, some relationships would be like, you can't flirt for, like, 50 cents off your Subway, where I'd be like, Sam, take that 50 cents off your Subway. You'd probably annoy me, but I'd be like, go ahead and do it. Where, like, it so depends on each relationship, which is why I also want to say that if you are someone who is comfortable with it, all for it, so long as your partner is too. It's got to be a dual decision, And I hate that other boys, just, picking on boys, but it's who have strippers at their parties. I hate that other boys pressure certain guys into it. Thinking, at the end of the day, they want it. And it's like, well, that's the problem, is, like, they don't want it because they know that it's wrong. But at the end of the day, you think they're going to want it because at the end of the day, they're going to be sexually aroused by it. And it's like, why is that the intention? Sorry. Oh, gets my blood.
Well, yes, we're going to put up a poll, so we'll keep you updated with the results. And we'll address it next episode. But, yes, I think that's all the questions for tonight, for this episode. We have so many, so I think we're going to make this like a regular It's a Mood kind of episode, because it's fun to just answer the most random questions. And especially... and that was a
good assortment.
Yeah, and because there's like not your typical usual questions. We will literally answer any of them, because people I follow, I'm like, answer the little cookies versus wine answer. I want to know that. I don't care about like the usual questions everyone asks you. I want to know the different things. So, I'm keen for next episode for this category, because that was fun.
Yes, guys, please add your questions in if you have any. I know that if you've listened this far, you're one of our true amazing listeners. So definitely go ahead and comment any of the questions that you've had, or even opinions. Like, let us know your dilemmas. Like, we'll address dilemmas, give you advice on certain things too, or go through it with anything you.
And if we don't have a question box up, just DM us as well. So But yes, thank you guys for sending in your questions as well.
Yes.
But yes, should we cheers?
Yes. Cheers to that. Thanks, guys. See you next episode. Woo! Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Sam, I can't hear you. Can you bring me a drink, please, and be quiet when you come in?
Is how I feel about that. About my Instagram and like the podcast and things.
What'd you say, sorry?
I told you to shut up.
Oh, in my way.
Yes. Pterodactyl.
That's Shauna's pet.
That's my pet pterodactyl.